Hi everyone, Jamthony Jamtano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the brand new Everything Everything album, Fever Dream. A Fever Dream is the fourth full-length LP from UK art pop outfit Everything Everything, which is one of my most anticipated albums of this year, because the band's last record, Get to Heaven, was so good. Easily one of the funkiest, punchiest, most cutting-edge and vibrant projects of 2015. The band brought the instrumental muscle of a group like Battles, but also an incredible knack for writing very sticky, eccentric hooks. They also brought these very wild, nasally lead vocals, fast, futuristic dance grooves, an awesome blend of rock, pop, electronic music, dance music, all harmoniously melting together into a digital rainbow. So going into this new record, I was excited for another round of that. Always excited for another round of that. But the singles leading up to the release of this album had me a bit worried. The drum and guitar work didn't come off quite as intricate. The grooves, not as captivating, not as visceral. Seemed like the production, the instrumentation was intentionally stripped back a bit. All around, their sound seemed a little less potent, which, I don't know, might be easier to listen to for a newcomer, but how eclectic and almost overwhelming Everything Everything sound was really just kind of a major selling point for me with their last two records. To see it fade on a new album, even incrementally, is going to be disappointing to some degree. And that's pretty much the case on this new record, unfortunately. I'm not really sure what drove the band to tone down the risk factor and the busyness of their music on this new record over here, especially since frontman Jonathan Higgs still sings with this really idiosyncratic, yelpy delivery, which is not going to be for everyone. I mean, the song Run the Numbers kind of lyrically implies that the band isn't really in this for popularity or the money or success. Maybe the band grew tired of how busy their music sounded, I'm not really sure. Either way, I still feel like the mathematical grooves and dense layers of instrumentation in their music kind of took a much needed edge off the vocals to kind of prevent them from sounding a little overbearing or even obnoxious. Just hearing the band continue without these elements in their music that to me I sort of felt were essential is kind of like watching someone try to unmake soup. Like, once it's made and all the ingredients are there and it's all just been boiled down into a complete meal, you can't just start pulling ingredients out of it. I can see generally across the album that the band is making somewhat of an effort at making a slightly moodier album here. There are more low-key cuts in the track listing here than there were on the band's previous efforts. And given the album title and the album cover, maybe a darker direction is what I really should have expected going into this. Especially since these are dark times that we're in the midst of, but is Everything Everything really a dark band? I mean, it's not like their lyrics previously didn't address serious or violent or dark issues. I just always thought it was interesting that the band crashed that into what was essentially a sonic fireworks show. Some of the more forlorn moments in the track listing here have Higgs almost sounding like I don't know, a slightly more animated Tom York. Like at the start of the title track or on the song Put Me Together, whose instrumental almost sounds like a leftover from The King of Limbs, with its moody guitars and sanitized synths and cycling electronic beats. And in a way, there are other kind of parallels I could draw between this album and The King of Limbs. I mean, there are quite a few cuts here where it seems like Everything Everything is allowing more synthetics, more sequenced beats to sort of overtake the instrumental palette of the album. And a lot of these throbbing electronics just feel kind of lifeless in comparison with the band's previous work. This doesn't happen on every track, but enough to sort of keep that work in the back of my head. I mean, there are exceptions, like the song White Whale. The guitar-based and very pretty, fluttery crescendo on that track is clearly not The King of Limbs. It is much more OK Computer. But there are spots on this album that do not remind me of Radiohead, okay? Still, the low-key cuts that kind of underwhelm me continue, like on Good Shot, Good Soldier, a song that I feel like I enjoy more lyrically than I do musically. I like the band's attempts at poking at some violent societal norms on this track. However, their social critique does occasionally go awry. Like the lyrics at the start of the song White Whale, they kind of make my eyes roll. Also the song Big Game, which seems to be like, I don't know, just some really desperate childish mockery of a big, powerful figure. Who that figure probably is most likely obvious to anybody who reads into the lyrics. It's songs like this that put the burden of carrying the album on the louder cuts in the track listing here. However, some of those are just underwhelmingly direct, like the song Desire, whose skipping bass and snare pattern just don't really inspire much for me, despite the fact that the vocal harmonies on the chorus are very bright, are very powerful. And don't get me wrong, I think the band's songwriting for the most part is very good on this project, just as solid as it has been in the past, just like on the track Run the Numbers. To run the numbers. The song Night of the Long Knives is the visceral opener that I hoped for on this album, but there's a noted tone of eeriness to it that I think is really fitting. And the song Ivory Tower is a bustling, complex track that can go toe-to-toe with anything, everything has recorded up until this point. And even the Can't Do single has grown on me within the context of the album, even if the chorus is a little incessant at points. But this album is just not a very instrumentally adventurous project for everything. I do like the strange, disassembled instrumental palette on the song Put Me Together at the midpoint of that track. However, moments like this are just few and far between on this record. Not enough surprises, not enough dynamics. Especially as the band tries to go long on the title track with this additional 3 minutes at the tail end of the song, where they try to revise this dance beat in a few different ways that just slowly grows stale as the track plods along unnecessarily. Overall, though, I think there are more wins than losses on this project. It's just slightly less of everything that made the band compelling to me in the first place. A little less surprise, a little less challenge, a little less fun. The lyrics don't hit me as being thoughtful as before. There's still a handful of great tracks on this thing. It's certainly better overall than the band's debut. I just think they regressed a little bit and kind of treaded some water. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 on this thing. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Just leave an angry comment in the comments if you're angry, and I will catch you guys in the next video, the next review. Everything, a fever dream. Click on another everything review next to my head, or click on the link to subscribe to the channel. You're the best forever.